In this video, I'm going to be making the $40 CakePan video light. Let's get into it. About 2 years ago, one of my favorite YouTubers, Daniel Schiffer, creator and filmmaker, created this video. It was a DIY project creating his own video light. He called it the $40 CakePan video light. So in this video, I'm going to replicate or do some of the replication of that video. And I do have a need for this kind of video video light because I'm using this cheap Neewer video light. There's a few problems with it. It's kind of big for my everyday use. For these type of videos, I like using it, but for my everyday Zoom or team meetings, I just don't have enough space, or it's very crowded or cramping up my office space here. So what I wanted to do is create a more compact light that I can mount on there. So I did spend just under $40 on this, and your price may vary. It could be cheaper or more expensive depending on the type of accessories that you have. So the things I did pay for was a CakePan. And in Daniel's video, he used a 14-inch. I'm using a 12-inch. This is a better size for my my setup here. I got my LED lights here, and something I didn't have, or I probably have around the house, but just in case, I bought an AC adapter for the lights itself. That's one thing Daniel already had in his possession already, is an AC adapter. There's other things he bought, like he spent about $10, $12 on diffusing material. You know, at the time of this recording, that same material is about $22. So I'm going to be using some parchment paper or some wax paper as diffusing. I've used that before in some other smaller lights. And another thing I already do have is these SMALLRIG clamps here. So I've talked about this before in some of my setup videos, but these are kind of the best clamps. So I already have this. This is an additional $12. So, you know, if you already have an AC adapter, or even if you already have a CakePan, you're going to spend somewhere between $30 to $60, depending on how you want to mount this and how you want to do this. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of put it together here. Okay, so I'm going to explain how I'm going to put this together before I go into a time-lapse video, but basically I'm going to take these LEDs, which it does have adhesive on the back, and I'm going to wrap it around this CakePan all over the side. So the light is not facing directly out. What's going to happen is, because this is a reflective surface, the lights are going to go all around and reflect off this. Then I'm going to put some parchment paper over to diffuse and soften the light. So before that, the first thing I'm going to do is poke a hole right in the middle here. I'm going to poke a hole. This is for the clamp. I'm doing that first so I can see where the hole is, so I can wrap the lights around and make sure I don't hit the hole, cover up the hole, because that's where I'm going to stick the clamp through, and so I can mount this on top as well. So now I'm going to cut to a time-lapse video of me just kind of building this thing. So it's been a few days since that last clip, and I just wanted to use the light for a couple of days until I give my final verdict here. But so far, I'm using it right now, and it's been pretty good, right? But let me give you my pros and cons about using this light. First, the cons. The biggest one for me, at least, is kind of the color output or the quality of light output that it's coming. Now, light, especially in video, most commonly you'll see has a CRI rating, and typically you want to get a CRI rating of 95 plus. So that shows you how accurate the light is, and I could tell it's a little bit off. I have my camera here on auto white balance as well, but I really have to dial in my camera to get kind of the skin tones I want for my videos now. So that's one thing. The other thing relates to output is I have no control of the brightness of this output unless I put more diffusion on. So I ended up buying a beauty dish diffusing material. So beauty dishes are these round light modifiers, but you can put a diffuser over it called a sock. It's a diffusing sock. So I actually have 2 layers of diffusion on here, and so that's kind of worked out pretty well. It kind of helps soften the light, but I don't have that much control other than that over the output. With my Neewer 60-watt light here, I have a lot more control. And actually, I usually have it at around 10%, which means I can even go brighter on this light as well. So the output on this is what it outputs is what I get. So I have no control over that. The other thing that I would say that is a little bit of a con is it doesn't have an on and off switch, but I've kind of remedied that by putting this on a smart switch. So that's what I was doing with this light as well. But so that's just a little bit of a con there. So let me get to the pros here. First, the cost. This is about half the cost of this light here, which is not that bad. I got this light on Amazon, the Neewer light on an Amazon Prime deal, and then I got this softbox that's around it used. So it was significantly cheaper used on Amazon. So I'm quite happy with the purchase. Now that's if you don't include the light stand here as well. That can cost an extra bit of money, right? Of course, I'm not talking about some of the accessories here as well that I've added, including the diffuser, including the clamp, which is not, these 2 things aren't included in the $40 price tag that I titled this video as. The other pro would definitely be this is dead silent. So the main complaint I have about this Neewer light, other than the big size, is the fan. Now this is a very cheap light compared to other video lights. So this has a fan that you can really hear. Now it may not come out in some of my video calls, but definitely in some of my recordings like this, I definitely have to do some processing, post-processing of audio afterwards to try to get rid of that fan noise as well. Some of the videos, I don't know if you can notice, if you listen closely, I didn't do some post-processing on it, and you can hear that kind of wind or fan noise in the background. So this is definitely silent. The last thing is this is more portable, and that's it can be a con as well, but as far as what I mean by that is it's a smaller source of light, so it's not going to be as soft as this light is concerned, but I'm able to clamp this wherever I want to. So right now I'm still working on getting the right position, because if you look, you can kind of see it in a reflection in my eye where the light is. Now you won't notice it as much here because I'm able to put this higher, and it's a bigger source, so it's not very noticeable as well. So hopefully I'm putting a lot of B-roll as I'm talking so you can see what I'm talking about comparing these 2 lights. But actually, let me give you like a side-by-side comparison between the 2 lights right now. This has been a fun little project. I would recommend doing something like this. I would recommend this kind of light. It's a pretty inexpensive way, especially if you already have some of these parts. If you happen to have an extra 12 to 14 inch CakePan that you don't want to use, then use one. If you have some LED lights that you want to do, then go ahead. If you have the clamps or the diffusing material, you could save a lot of money or reuse a lot of things that you already have to save you a lot of money in this thing. Now, if I didn't already have a video light, I would think this is like the most awesome thing. But knowing that the quality I get from a dedicated video light, a product that is made to be a video light, I wouldn't have so much issue with some of the output that I've had with this. But actually, I can use both of them at the same time, so I won't have such a contrasty video. The problem is the colors don't match between the 2 lights, so I get some mixed results. Now, these are things that I'm talking about that some people may not notice, and especially on Zoom, people aren't going to really notice at all. They're going to just say, wow, you have very clear video, and they're not going to really care about the color of the output as well. So Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Shout out to Daniel Schiffer and his original $40 CakePan video, which still lives almost 2 years later. If you like what you see, give it a like and consider subscribing. Until the next one, see ya.